This tea is going to be my best friend this video because I need to keep the vibes as cool as possible. I don't want to get too heated here, but salutations everybody. It is Matty here today. I hope you're all doing fantastic. The reason we're trying to keep things as mellow as possible is, well, for those who don't watch the channel, there's a moniker that I have to break out sometimes when I think the internet's getting out of line, and today is that day where we wrest the title of MrMattyPlays for a video, and instead today I take up the mantle as Mr. Daddy Plays. I need to start bringing out the negative reinforcement here for some people who are acting a bit out of line about start screens for Starfield. We're also going to talk about a lot of news for Starfield on top of that, whether it be mods, Xbox Series X wraps, and much more that you don't want to miss. So ladies and gentlemen, not much longer now until the Starfield reviews drop August 31st, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss out. And with that, if you're new here and you're into Starfield news, information, conversations, reviews, previews, guides, tips, all that stuff, I'm going to have you covered. Consider subscribing. Okay, so let's start off with Grums. Let's start off with the story that really took over the internet over this past weekend. I was debating whether or not I wanted to talk about it because of how stupid it truly is, but when I found out the credentials, the accolades attached to this person, I was very surprised by the take even more so and just wanted to offer my own 2 cents. So who is Grums? I never heard of him until this last weekend. He is a former team lead for the OG World of Warcraft, producer for Diablo 2 and StarCraft, and thinks Chrono Trigger is the best game. Not a bad take, and honestly, some really impressive credentials there. Those are some timeless video games for many people, extremely popular series, so certainly this wouldn't be a person who's hosting a really tremendously bad take on a video game start screen, right? Right? Let's read the tweet. The physiognomy of start screens. The start screen of a game can reveal a lot about how rushed the team was and how much pride they took in their work. Starfield's start screen either shows hasty shipping deadlines by a passionate team overworked or a team that didn't care. He continues on and explains his point. Start screens are often done at the very end of development. Teams are too busy making the core game. It's quite common for the start screen to completely change once the game is shipping or on patch 0. Teams that take pride want to put a good face forward and will often redo these just prior to the game going live. So yeah, that's the take right there. Starfield is going to be some liquid ass because the start screen is not up to snuff according to Grums here. Now, I don't know about y'all, but certainly I've played a handful of games that have not had spectacular or reinventing the wheel level start screens. I think of Final Fantasy VII, that was the first to come to mind. It's literally the Buster Sword in the ground, bruh. Like, that is one of the most timeless JRPGs ever. And I think there's an elegance to its simplicity and certainly a nostalgia to it, but I'm sure we all can think of a game with a pretty simple start screen. Now, I'm actually not going to disagree that there are more inspired start menus in general, not compared to Starfield. I'll explain why I'm fine with Starfield's start menu, but I do think of games like Kingdom Hearts, which has a very tone-setting type of main menu, especially Kingdom Hearts 2 immediately comes to mind to me as one of my personal favorite start menus. So start menus can add to the experience, no doubt about it, but I don't think it necessarily indicates a game is going to be good or bad. That's what we call judging a book by its cover. Now, the reason I think Starfield's start menu is fine, and quite frankly, I don't give a shit because I care about the game behind the start menu, which, funny enough, Grums is going to kind of walk back on in a moment here. But the start menu is fine because, as we've seen in the Starfield Direct and what Bethesda Game Studios has said, it's about the great unknown. It's about this journey into what's out there. And it's a very mysterious start menu, but it's also in line with what BGS has done for a hot minute. None of their title menus have been really that elegant. They've been extremely simple, and I think they've made timeless, countless Game of the Year style games. So I don't know, man, but don't worry. Grums, he was just kidding. He was just kidding, y'all. This is an IQ test. Anyone who thought I said the start screen determined the quality of the game failed. Bruh. Bro, just own the shit take is what I say, man. When I see people have a bad take, it's okay. Everyone on planet Earth has had a really bad take. Yo, all right, I know I've been running it back on this Fallout 4 near perfect review, right? I know I have, probably because of the timing of Starfield's release. It's just on my head a little bit more. Imagine I drop that review, okay? And then a couple of days later I go, y'all, it was just an IQ testing because you believe that I thought that it was a near perfect game. You son of a bitch. Oh, I was just kidding. You failed the IQ test. You're the idiot, not me. Bruh, I just can't even believe it. So with that, Bethesda did not take kindly to this criticism. Pete Hines actually chimed in on this, which I was surprised to see, and he said, or they designed what they wanted, and that's been our menu for years. It was one of the first things we settled on. Having an opinion is one thing. Questioning our developers' care because you would have done it different is highly unprofessional coming from another dev. And I agree with that. You know, for me, the start menu for our game is just very bare bones and basic right now. And yeah, it's going to be something we get to later. I don't think there's any untruth that you can change it later in development, but we still care a ton about our game. I don't think we care any less because right now our start screen is the most basic new game. Do you wish to continue, etc., etc. Like very simple stuff just to get you into the part that will sell your game, the content itself. So yeah, a pretty horrendous take here and one he tried to walk back on. And if you go to his Twitter account, just doubling down everywhere and just trying to run it like a joke, like he's taking the piss when obviously he's not. He was dead serious. I mean, you don't give me that full breakdown afterwards, like, here's why. And it's like, oh, I was just kidding. Come on, man. We all know that guy who does that stuff. Grumps is that guy. All right, let's continue on here. Entire Starfield achievement list has leaked. We're not showing it here at all. I more so wanted to highlight this to warn you all. People are looking at this. They're trying to spoil things for other people. It's my reminder to you. Clear your watch history. Start muting words on Twitter. Really start protecting yourselves. We've gotten this far. We've been pretty clean. I gotta say, and again, this is where MrMattyPlays is coming in. Insider Gamer, what are we doing, man? What are we doing putting out a whole achievement list for a game? I know they're just the quest names and whatnot, but quest names are often thematic and can tie into the meaning of the quest itself, go figure, and can spoil things for people. There are people who are trying to go in blind, and to me, I really like what Insider Gaming does. Like, they are really a great source for information, but this here, like, what are we doing? Why are we dropping? Do you really need the leak that bad? I know it's like their #1 driver in traffic, so I understand the hows and whys they would do it, but this just seems unfair when we're so close, and this is something that didn't really need to leak. I mean, it'll naturally slip out a couple of days ahead of launch, but I don't know. I wasn't crazy about the achievement list having to slip out there, personally. Okay, next up on the list here, Starfield. It's getting a little bit of traction over on Reddit where they noticed the game version is 1.6.35.0. And some people are reading into it, okay, well, normally it's version 1 when the game comes out. Is this a sign of the extent of testing, the extent of polish, bug testing? So when it comes to something like this is where I have to say that being under NDA with the embargo and everything, it's a little bit of a tough thing to walk around because naturally I know the technical state of Starfield. I'm not going to say anything. I'll have to wait until the previews and impressions and reviews for all that stuff. What I can say, though, is that this update's already old news. Bethesda's dropped a brand new update for Starfield in the review period, and that's going to be the update that's available to everyone. So take it how you will in the terms of if it means more polish or not. Typically when the version number is higher, that could indicate something like that. But when it comes to Starfield and its current version number, people are reading into 1.6 when it's already into beyond that in the 1.7s. So just something to be aware of, that Bethesda continues to update it, and 1.6 isn't something to read into because you're going to be playing a different, more patched version of the game. Continuing on, the Starfield EULA potentially suggests mod support on Xbox. Reference to Bethesda's Creation Club mod support has been found in the Starfield EULA, which mentions creation credits, virtual currency used to purchase mods on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, which could suggest that mods will be available when the game comes to Xbox Series X. So this is something that I would really love to see. The Creation Club, like, if they overhauled it, I would be open to it. I want the modders to secure a bag. They're the reason these games are relevant, so I think they should be able to. And certainly if they can go beyond what eventually Skyrim managed to do with new quests and new dungeons, and they can really put like voice work into it and make it feel like a tangible part of the game, I think we'll all be all over it and be playing everything that really comes out for the most part. But if they do what they did with Fallout 4, skins, you know, dog meat skin packs, weapon skin packs, new things to use in the settlement mode, yeah, you kind of lose us there. It's not worth your time because there's not the bulk of the content that we care about, which is quests. Certainly, we already know with the Outposts in Starfield, they're going to pump that system full of Creation Club stuff. But console mods, I would love to see come to Starfield. We don't really have any official information on that, but it looks like through the EULA that this is something that's on the way. And I'm excited to see what next-gen only console mods look like, especially because for those who don't remember with Skyrim and Fallout 4, when the console mods hit for those, particularly PlayStation was in a really bad area. Todd Howard kind of threw PlayStation under the bus, but the Xbox console mods have always been pretty good. It was a memory limit issue. So I wonder what they're going to allow here with Starfield on much more powerful hardware. That could be really exciting because now maybe modders can bring over those bigger, more ambitious mods for Starfield, and maybe even with the Fallout 4 Next Gen update, they can bring over a larger set of Fallout 4 mods onto consoles so more fans can access that. I think it's one of the best things Bethesda's done with console mods, where people who are maybe not interested in getting into the thick of things with their files, or they just want to experience a little bit of modding and what it's like to overhaul your game, can get a little bit of that with just a click of the button. It's really good stuff. Now, speaking of mods, we have an update on a DLSS mod coming to Starfield. For those who don't know, with the AMD partnership, it seems like DLSS will not be there at launch for Starfield. And so this modder had stepped up to the plate saying, don't worry, day one, I'll flip the switch, it'll be there. However, it may be paywalled over on their Patreon. Starfield is one of the biggest releases this year, but the AAA open world by Bethesda might be missing one of PC gaming's greatest features, DLSS. Some have speculated that this may be due to AMD's marketing partnership with Bethesda. However, modder Pure Dark has committed to having a day one solution for users to apply to their game in order to improve system performance. Pure Dark's mods can be found and installed by going to their Patreon and paying a small fee. However, with their most recent post, the modder appears to also be implementing a form of DRM into newer mods. Some people were really upset about this. To that I say, look, no one else is doing it. They're providing a unique service. I'm not always about money, but with these modders, again, I just can't. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but they are the reason we get most of the content that we do, and it's the reason that these Bethesda Game Studios games are like hallmark releases, even when the game is booty, like, say, Fallout 76. Granted, there hasn't been official mod support really, but there was the hope that maybe mods could fix that, right? Like, there's always a chance with BGS games to end up good thanks to its community, where like almost Starfield is in this winning position no matter what. Now, with something like DLSS, I think that this is something a lot of people are going to want, especially for the extra frames to balance things out. And yeah, you may have to pay for it. And I say, for a modder who's providing a unique service, it shouldn't always be free of charge. Go get your money if it's that valuable to us and we need those frames. We can pay a little bit extra for it. How much it is, I'm not 100% sure on. I'm not saying that you should charge an arm and a leg, but I think it could be worth your while if you care enough and you're supporting someone who's helping out a lot of other games beyond Bethesda Game Studios. This isn't just a one-off. This modder just did DLSS for Red Dead Redemption 2, so they're helping out quite a lot, and I think you can earn a little bit of money that way. Last story here, Xbox Series X wraps. Wow, okay, so you're not going to get a limited Starfield console, but you're going to get something that can wrap around it. Let's talk about it. The wraps were designed specifically for Xbox Series X and have a custom precision fit. Every detail was taken into consideration to ensure your console performance is preserved, vents are all clear, and small feet were added to the bottom of the wraps to ensure air can flow freely throughout the console. Made with solid core panels that are layered with high-tech fabric finishes, the wraps are folded around your console and secured with a hook and loop enclosure. The interior of the wraps are printed with silicone designs that keep the wrap in place. Launching in the US, Canada, and Europe October 18th for $50 USD. You can pre-order yours starting today at the Microsoft Store. And you can see here some of the pieces of the wrap itself. So it looks like Starfield will be front and center there where the power button is, where the disc would eject out of. And you can see a lot of the constellation stuff there. You can see the star map really cool stuff all across the board. So how do I feel about this? As someone who's been begging for a limited edition console, I'm really surprised this is the answer. I feel like if we're going to come out with this, if this was coming out at launch, I'd be like, all right, makes sense. The fact that this is coming out after launch, I'm like, just make a limited console. Just a quick limited Series S or Series X. I don't get how we do it for Halo. We don't do it for Bethesda's Starfield, but I digress. I just feel like more limited consoles is never a bad thing. It's definitely a system I would have splashed on. Now, the wraps, one thing people were seeing, $50 for stickers. It's not stickers. They're saying here that it's a wrap of sorts with solid core panels, high-tech fabric finishes, and silicone prints. So we'll see how it all feels. I know they're saying here we've ensured that air can flow. I still worry about putting an extra layer on my Series X, how that will affect the console and its heat dispersion systems, so to say. Its cooling. I worry about stuff like that. I've certainly been putting a lot of hours into my Series X lately, and it's been getting pretty hot, so I wouldn't want to add an extra layer to that. It's like me going out in the 90-degree weather with a jacket on. It's like, that doesn't really help, does it? So who knows? We will see. But nonetheless, I like that they're doing at least a little something. I still think PlayStation's solution with the Spider-Man plates was much better. It looks better. I'm going to buy those day one because I hate how the PS5 looks. I love my PS5, but I hate how it looks. So I can't wait for that personally. With Xbox, this could be something that unlocks some potential with a lot of other... If it works out really well, there's a lot of potential there where pretty much every first-party game can get a console wrap, which I think is really cool. However, I wonder now what it means for, like, are they ever going to do a limited Series X run again? What's the plan there? I would hope they would, but Starfield felt like a shoo-in, and all we got was the, right here, controller, and we also got the headset. So, who knows? We'll see. Xbox loves to produce new hardware, so that's why I was a little surprised by this. But at least we get something, I guess. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, that is all your Starfield news today. From bad takes to mods to console wraps, got you covered. Let me know what you think of all of this in the comments down below. Please do fire away. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.